Seth, now that gained more notoriety, you have people publishing like fake news on me. Like, for example, apparently there's articles that say I'm worth $100 million and, things like this. Now, me personally, I'm conservative. I don't know about you, but I would much rather publicly be known to have $0 just for government purposes. you know, like I certainly don't want my wealth published. So, in as much as that's the case, I've not created any of these websites. I've never even stated what my net worth is. I think that you have bots and AI and people who are, seeing that there's certain terms being searched regularly, what's Marquette's net worth, things like this. And so maybe they're generating these websites, but anyone could go on and check the origins of these websites in the Whois database, right?
100%. And yeah, just to speak on that a little bit. So as soon as we start, an LLC, some sort of company out there, people will immediately have your information, right? Because now you're like registered publicly. And so I get phishing attempts and random emails for companies that I started years ago that are saying, you can get, loans for millions of dollars for your company. And it's like, my company's not making any money. I stopped doing that years ago, and so it's just, and same thing like for other phishing attempts and things like that. Like people will just generate random websites about you. There's Instagram accounts made of me. I've never had an Instagram account.
Wow.
It's just random stuff where people try to act like you. So there's people on Upwork, right? So people see my profile on Upwork and they'll reach out to me and say, hey, I want to act as you on Upwork because you have high ratings. I'll do the work and I'll give you 50% of the pay, but let me use your profile. So people want to use your credibility to do things. And so 100%.
Bruh.
Like,
yo, Seth, listen, man. That's a major. A guy said, listen, I have the skill set to do fill in the blank. You're so legit. I want to pretend to be you, and I'll split the money with you. You don't have to do any work. Just let me be you. 100%. That's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen who are watching, men in particular, you are a great man when someone says, let me use your name. You see, that's the importance of a man's name when you actually have displayed merit over time, because some things you cannot fake. I hope you're comprehending this. The man's name is valuable. The name becomes a brand. And he did that all from his brains and know-how. Bruh, congratulations on that.
Appreciate you.
Now, if it was me, I would have said, that sounds like a fascinating deal. I damn near would have said, hey, let me give you a test. I would have given them an interview. Like, let me give you some performance tasks. Let me see what you can actually do. Maybe I can put you under the brand. Maybe. That's crazy. Shout out. May I acknowledge Heels In supporting the work via Venmo. Shout out to Mr. Tabbitt, comes in via PayPal, writes peace to the saints. And may I also acknowledge Matthew, who just became a member at patreon.com/the saint and the sinner. He's actually been a long time member. I just want to let everyone know who's watching. We did note in the title that BBMLD, Cuck22, Destiny, they're all invited to call in at no cost if they'd like to come and explain how any fraud has ever been created or committed in any way. And anyone who is not one of those very famous wealthy guys, and the ironic thing is that they're both actually scammers, or actually all three of them are scammers. Destiny was an NFT scammer. I don't know if do you know who Adam22 is?
No.
Exactly. He's a loser. But this guy, when he first came into, money, it was as a credit card scammer. He's admitted this on interviews with DJ Vlad on Vlad TV. You might not be aware of that platform, but he's admitted to being a credit card scammer. And then he turns around and calls me a scammer. Why? Because Destiny started to propagate that lie initially, right? And then you had BBMLD. This is like a dating coach, a guy who has a bunch of surgery. Just imagine, Seth. He has a bunch of surgery. And he came on my live one time and he said, like, didn't you do an NFT scam? I was like, fascinating. I was like, I'll give you 3 minutes uninterrupted to explain the scam. Go ahead. And obviously, he couldn't explain the scam.
I think that's entirely false though too. I don't. We didn't even sell any NFTs, so zero NFTs were sold. So even if you were going to make a claim, obviously incorrect, it would be about the token, right? So
Now, how crazy is that, Seth? Like that, this is the level of the lies. And here's the funny thing, like right now, while we have all the floor open, we said, hey, we want to answer questions, we got time here. None of them want to show up because it's obviously completely false. Shout out to none of the above. He writes, tuition, if I could go back, I would definitely focus on either aerospace engineering or mechanical engineering instead of mere CS. I
hey,
didn't want the smoke then. Shout out to Seth, he's the man.
100% agree.
Now, shout out to none of the above for even taking a rigorous degree, but also acknowledging that there was a level of fear. Because even myself, one, I went into university coming out of poverty and not only material and financial, but also intellectual. And so as a result, I didn't have the guidance to know to study a proper discipline. So I just didn't know, and there was levels of fear there as well because I didn't come from a school that had prepared me well. And so, I encourage everyone, when you hear a guy like Seth, people make up lies like, oh, college is nonsense. College is a waste of time. Like, no, I am an expert in college retention, as it turns out. And those who get a degree will earn $1 million more over a lifetime. That's just the average of the data, including the dumb majors. But when you look at the majors like Seth took, then you're talking about extraordinary earnings. And for all people say about college degrees, they're still highly valued, especially if you're taking aerospace engineering, you're taking something that requires a lab, chemistry, biology, things like this. Any words on that?
Oh, 100% agree that the college route is super helpful to your credibility. Like I said, if you try to apply to these engineering jobs, you don't have a degree, like you're not even going to get to the interview, right? Because it doesn't show that, right? So, but as far as like only doing tech degrees, I don't know if that's super great. Like some of the things I wish I would have done in college, right, is I went to a nobody city. It was a pretty good school. Like I feel super technically competent now. But as far as like, I became way more introverted. Like in high school, I used to do a whole bunch of like speaking events and acting
Mm.
things like that. And then once I went to this technical school, I feel like I got a lot more introverted. Whereas if I would have went to like University of Miami or something, right? Then
Bruh,
you're gonna get.
you have three baby mamas, Puerto Rican and Dominican, bruh. But go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I would say like for what you said about your degree, like I feel like you're a super eloquent speaker. I feel like you speak way better than I do, and like I think those things like you might learn. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but especially I hear like some speakers talk about how when they their law program where they went and did mock
Mm.
trials and things like that teach them to speak eloquently, to make good arguments, that sort of thing. I wish I had more of that, and if I could go back to school, that's what I would do. Is I would study some probably law, something like that. I feel like is kind of interesting to me. So always be learning.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is that you've done really well without that. So that's the number one beautiful thing. And for those of you who, similar to Seth, said, hey, I want to improve my speaking ability, whether it's interpersonal or it's on a stage, because one thing we had to do as business guys in the tech space, raising capital, we had to do a lot of public speaking. Especially when we're raising those initial rounds of finance, because you have to be able to talk your way into the deal because you don't have the data, you don't have the financials to get the deal. And in as much as that's the case, I do have the Master Communicator course. And I'm going to go out here and say this. As confident as Seth is in his technical ability, and he's worked at Fortune 1, I am as confident in my public speaking ability. And I believe that I am the one, and that's around the whole planet Earth. You dig? I do have a Master Communicator course. You can get it at Marquette Devon. And Seth, you've actually seen me public speak before. You have any feedback on that?
Oh, 100%. So there were, I think, 8 companies in our cohort, and Marquette was by far the best speaker. Everyone loved his presentation way more than everyone else's. Ours were all boring, and then he comes on stage and blows everyone's mind. It was incredible.
I appreciate that. Shout out to Saint White. And you might remember Saint White. I don't want to say his first name because his last name is out there. Actually, that's not his last name. His last name is Saint. Is not White. He actually put that as a joke because he is white. Okay. You might remember Mitchell.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So this is Mitchell. And shout out to the fact that I put on real conferences. We actually meet in real life and we really serve people.